Let's talk about the issue of people who do come here and do get to stay here. We've had an array of extraordinary stories in the last week about people who've not been able to stay here. Today we've got a Nigerian woman. She's been able to stay in the country after on her 8th attempt at staying in this country as an asylum seeker, because coming from Nigeria, basically kept being rejected. Why she wasn't sent home immediately after the first rejection, you've got to wonder, although not surprised. And then basically she was advised to join a terror group, a particularly prescribed group, not prescribed in this country, but prescribed there, and therefore you won't be able to be returned home because you'd be targeted for that. And she managed to stay. Unbelievable. We had an Albanian who couldn't be deported because his young son apparently was a bit fussy about food and wouldn't like foreign chicken nuggets. How they would know that is fascinating. I don't know. We've also had a Pakistani man convicted of child sex offences, not living with his own children, what with being a paedophile, a part of a grooming gang, but not being able to be returned to Pakistan because apparently this would be unduly harsh on his children that he wasn't allowed to live with anyway. We've also had a Gazan family, mum, dad, 4 kids, being told, according to the senior tribunal, senior tier of the refugee tribunals, that they can come and live here under the auspices of the Ukraine family scheme, even though they're coming from Gaza under exceptional circumstances, being that their home has been destroyed, which is pretty much everyone of the population of Gaza. These stories, I'm just reeling those off. That's just this week's stories, Mark. What is going on and what do we do about it?
OK, well, it is bananas, isn't it? I mean, it is absolutely ludicrous. The idea that the preferences of your kid over what type of chicken nuggets and sauce he likes with them is in any way relevant to an asylum claim is bizarre. And this Nigerian one, I mean, this is unbelievable, right? The message now is if you're a bit worried you might be kicked out, then the best thing you can do is to join some fanatical, loony, extremist pseudo-terror group to then say that if I'm sent home, I'll be unfairly persecuted. The judge in that case even accepted she was not sincere in joining that group. It wasn't a reflection of her true beliefs.
But even if she had, on both counts, sincere or insincere, still don't want you here.
I agree. And here's the problem, I think. It does come down to our human rights legislation. In particular, I mean, I would get us out of the European Convention of Human Rights and repeal the Human Rights Act. But in particular, it doesn't apply to all of these cases, is Article 8 of the Human Rights Act. This says that you should have respect for your privacy and a family life. Well, that sounds nice, but wow, is that vague. And if you allow judges to interpret that and they start thinking your right to a family life is one in which your son can eat whatever flavour of chicken McNuggets he likes, then suddenly you stay. So politicians, if they're not going to scrap the whole ECHR and the
we have to get rid of that one.
You've at least got to clarify that one.
But having read through these articles, there are clearly statements in these articles. There's a further paragraph. It's not just one sentence. When it's except where it is unreasonable interference in your family life, your right to family, that is the issue. Not, for instance, if you commit a crime, we absolutely take away your right to a family life by putting you in prison. It seems to me on this basis, if the interpretations of the law continue in this way, in this Article 8, we are getting to the point when judges are going to say, I cannot infringe your right to a family life, I cannot put you behind bars even though you've committed murder. Correct.
And my worry is that I would think now, if you wish to be, I don't know, an activist who meaningfully affects British immigration policy, you're probably better off trying to become a judge than trying to become a cabinet minister. We have now allowed our courts to set so much policy, not just in immigration, on things like, can we go drilling in the North Sea, or does that infringe your rights to not die of climate change? So
but that is the legal situation.
Yeah, it is ludicrous. And we have got to get power back into a sovereign parliament so that the immigration rules are set by our MPs who we can vote for or vote out.
And we've even seen that in America. I mean, lots of things that Donald Trump, he's got a clear mandate to do. I mean, again, we've been talking about Ukraine all morning, but, he's doing what he said he was going to do. He's got the mandate for it. I disagree with him fundamentally on it. It was my biggest concern about him being elected. Otherwise, I was in favour of lots of what he wanted to do. But again, we've got judges trying to stop him from doing things that he said he was going to do.